Gamerheads Podcast is part of the Little Fellow Media Podcast Network, sponsored by podcast host Budsprout, the easiest podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. And welcome to another episode of Gamerheads Reviews. And today I'm joined by Phil the Chef Hoff. Welcome, Phil.
Hi, Roger. Thanks for having me.
You are quite welcome. Thanks for joining me in my discussion of Tiny Metal.
Tiny Metal? What's that all about?
Tiny Metal is a game. It's a game. Shocking, right?
Wait a minute. You're reviewing a game
on
a game review show? I'm out, Roger. You didn't tell me this was happening.
I know. This is a surprise. Shocking. Tiny Metal, Full Metal Rumble, actually, is the full title of it. It is a game that's on the Switch and I believe Xbox, if I'm correct. So it is basically, I would say it's the spiritual successor. I know people are not going to believe this because I thought Wargroove was a spiritual successor to Advance Wars, but this truly is the spiritual successor to Advance Wars. I mean, it's a lot like Advance Wars. You have army men and you are taking on enemies and you're defending your bases, and as you progress through the different levels you earn different units and different machinery that you can use, different types of infantry that you can create, and then there's different buildings you have to take over. I mean, it is truly Advance Wars. I mean, Advance Wars on the Switch, and Wargroove I think is very good, but it didn't have it's not like that old school army, the Advance Wars that the army had, like the army that's in this game. So
okay,
where Advance Wars Wargroove is more like fantasy,
more fantasy based.
Yeah. So this is more tanks and soldiers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the game kind of just throws you right in to the story, and you are this army. It's a coalition of different armies, and they're fighting against these like robot droids, I guess, these mindless droids, and you have to defend as they come in and attack. And there's different scenarios, but they're pretty much all the same. You have your units, and you go to different city, like different buildings in the city, and then you take them over. And if you do, then you can build more units. And I will say it's really hard. I played the tutorial. Like, you have to play through the tutorial first, and I was like, okay, it's a tutorial, but it's not like to teach you. I mean, it does teach you how to play the game, but it's like, okay, we're gonna teach you how to play the game, but we're not gonna make it easy on you. Like,
even the tutorial's tough?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, it took me a couple times to get through the tutorial because it was really hard. I was like, what the hell? This is really actually hard. So they're not just playing around with you on this one. This is a good strategy game, and like some of these battles, like later on as I played through the levels, some of them went on for a really long time. Like, I think I had one that was like 45 minutes long. Just because every time I'd make an advancement, like they would take over something else, and then I had to like move my troops over to another area,
trying to counteract their action all the time.
Exactly. And it does have the fog of war feel to it as well. So like if there's areas that you haven't explored yet, you can't see that, but you can see like enemies coming out of that fog of war area. So you know that they're behind there somewhere, but you don't really know like what they might have set up. They might have an ambush set up for you. They might have other things set up for you. So like the AI in this game is really pretty intense.
When it comes to the fog of war, do you have like reconnaissance units you can send out and like put up so that way they can kind of clear that up a little bit, and they like allow you to see a little further, or are you pretty much just blinded by the fog of war?
Yeah, you're pretty much blinded.
So you push up too far.
You push up, yeah. So as long as once you push up, like some of the squares in front of that unit then does open up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are times where you walk in and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to go into a trap here. I really don't know.
Oof.
Yeah, those can be really difficult. And there was a couple times where I was ambushed and I was just like, oh no, you're kidding me.
Are there different terrains that limit your movements and stuff like that as well then? Okay.
Yes. So there's and based on what units you have, like some are okay to go through like hills and forests and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And some are not. So
you can't just send a mountain up the side of a tank? Or, I mean, a tank up the side of a mountain? Well, mountain
yeah,
up the side of a tank.
Both of them. Both
Either
of them
way,
you can do. Yeah.
It work.
Either way, that wouldn't work. Exactly. And like I said, I mean, it is an intense game. And the other cool thing that you can do with this game is that you can actually take your units and then you can like surround an enemy and you can all like set them up that they all focus on the enemy that you're attacking. So let's say I have 3 units and I want all 3 of them to attack. So the first 2 units, when I send them in, I would say lock on to the opponent.
Oh, okay.
And then my last unit that comes in, then I'll say, okay, now focus fire. And they all then focus all 3 units would focus their fire on that unit that you're attacking. So, I mean, it just makes for a really good strategy game. Like, from that perspective, it's a really, really good strategy game. And if you are a fan of Advance Wars, this is definitely something that you should check out because it is really, really good and really intense. And it's not easy. I'm just going to say that right now. It is not an easy game.
I had the same problem even just with Wargroove, though. There was a couple of battles that I got into, even in like Chapter 2 of Wargroove, that I'm on like turn 53, and all of a sudden my last unit would die, and I was on the verge of being 12 years old and throwing my controller across the room again. But I enjoyed strategy games. I might have to go grab this on your recommendation.
Yeah. You know, it is funny because I like Wargroove, and I thought that the story was interesting in Wargroove, or somewhat interesting, I guess. And this story like wasn't compelling. Like the story didn't like capture me. Like right away, been like, oh my gosh, this is so deep, because it's not that deep of a story. But the fact that the strategy behind it is really fun, and that's what makes this game really good. So I would say like the tips and tops, if we're going to focus on that, you know, the fact that this is a really good strategy game. There's plenty of units to, like, once you start unlocking, you'll have tons of units that you can select from. Like, some of these battles feel just epic because they go on for a long time, and you feel like you're making, like, the decisions you make are like really important decisions.
Yeah.
And it feels, that all feels really good. Like, I really like that a lot. So those are the things I really liked about the game.
Can I ask a quick question before you go on with that?
Yeah.
When you say you unlock more as you go, do different units open up to you?
Yes.
As like you just progress further in the story, or it's just like straight up they're given to you? It's not that you have to earn them or unlock them through research or anything like that.
Oh, so good question. So as you progress through the different levels, then they'll say, oh, in this level you'll learn how to use, this unit. Or you'll have this unit available to you. So
it's not quite like Civilization where you're researching a certain technology, and at a certain point, like you'll get Yep. So the progression is that you get to use these units at that level. So, and I would assume that the enemy army evolves at the same time as well. Okay.
Correct. So they have the same. Yeah. So they're not going to be overpowered, right? So they're going to have the same units that you have.
Okay.
And the other thing that I will say about this game too, and I didn't get a chance to play multiplayer, but there is multiplayer in this game, so you can play with your friends. So those are the things I really liked about the game. So some of the things that I didn't like about the game is going to be very picky. But so one thing I really liked about Wargroove is the animation and the art style in that game. And I really liked the animation and the art style in like Advance Wars. It just has like this cartoony kind of like drawings, right? And it kind of has like a retro feel to it too.
Yeah, right? It's almost comforting.
Yeah, exactly. In this game, have you ever seen those commercials for like the General where I think he sells like car insurance?
Oh god, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And you know how it's like that 3D like
yep. Cheese fest, 30 frames per second animation.
Yes.
Not even 30, like 16.
Yes.
Almost looks like a slot machine.
Yes, exactly. So that kind of artwork and that kind of like, I don't know, it feels like really, like, it feels like 80s or 90s, or I guess not 80s, but more like 90s artwork when they're like, look at, we first learned about 3D modeling, right?
Borderline campy.
Yes, and that's what they have in here. And I don't know, when I first played it, I was just like, because of that artwork, I was like, I was turned off kind of right away. And it's really subjective because like I can't blame the game for that, but it just felt kind of, I know this is a weird word, but it felt gross. It was just, the artwork is just not, it just didn't seem to fit with the game. And I wish they would have went with a different artwork, because before, when you're going through the story, when you're first introduced to like each level, like it's all hand-drawn art and it's cool, and I'm like, cool, this is cool looking, like it's anime kind of stuff. And then it goes to this 3D modeling stuff. I'm like, oh. When they do and I should clarify, when they do the attacks, like when you are attacking the enemies, that's where you see this 3D kind of like 3D modeling kind of artwork. So it's minor. It's a minor thing, and it's just, that was just me, and it just felt so cheesy, you know? And I thought, for a game that has so much going for it, that has this retro feel, and it has this retro, you know, like throwback to the Advance Wars, and then they do this cheeseball animation in it. I just, it didn't sit well with me. And then some of the voice acting too was kind of cheeseball too. So, but overall, it's a good game. I mean, it's a good strategy game, and it's very challenging. And I would say that this is more of the successor to Advance Wars versus like even Wargroove, because this is really good. So I gave the game a B+.
Oh, no kidding. That's what I was about to ask you, is what you ended up giving it.
Yeah.
How's the music in it, Roger?
It gets annoying.
It's there.
It's there. Yeah. It's not anything like, wow, like this is such great music. Like the artwork and the music, even the overworld, like it's not bad, but it's weird. Like it just feels like they just like learned about modeling, like 3D modeling. Like that's, you know, like we got the strategy part down. Let's show off our 3D modeling now. And I'm like, no, don't. Just don't go. Do blocky cartoon characters. I don't care. Do anything else. Do 16, bit pixels. Do something. Even 8-bit. I don't care. But this, just.
Does it make cheesy sound effects when you attack too? Because you kind of mentioned that the voice work was cheesy.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm a sucker for cheesy sound effects. I'm downloading as soon as we're done. I've got Civilization 6 I haven't touched yet, but I am skipping that in favor of Tiny Metal just for the cheese factor.
Yeah, it is pretty cheesy. And when the enemies lose too, they're just like, oh no, like I don't know. It is kind of cheesy. Like, what was one of the things that they said? Like, you have your soldiers out there, and they're like, today is a good day to die, or something like that. I was like, what? Or like, you don't live forever, something like that.
That's awesome.
And and again, like it made me laugh, but it kind of, you hear the same thing over and over again. And you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. But I looked past that from a strategy standpoint. This is a really good strategy game, and if you like strategy games, like I said, I think you'd really like this game.
Yeah, to B+, you can't say no to that. Any idea what it cost?
$14.99, so $15. I think that's a good price for this game.
It sounds like a good deal.
And like I said, I mean, even once you get through the campaign, you can play with your friends and such. So it's not a bad game. It's on Nintendo Switch right now. And I think, let me just make sure, I think it's on other systems too.
Any idea how long the campaign on that is? Is it a pretty massive campaign, or is it nice and cozy where you can beat it out in a couple of sit-ins?
I think you could beat it out in a couple of sittings.
Okay.
Like I said, some of them took quite a while though. So it's out for out for Windows and Nintendo Switch. So really, actually, it's only one console. Yeah. And I think some of those battles I probably could have been less cautious than I was, and probably won a lot sooner. But I play strategy games very cautiously, so so I think it depends on how you play the game. So, but for $15, if you're looking for a good advanced war game, successor to that, this is definitely something that you should look into.
Right on. I will be doing so.
All right, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll talk next time. Catch new episodes of Gamerheads Podcast every Sunday on Buzzsprout, Google Play, or iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our website at gamerheadspodcast.com.